Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting. I'm Watty, and today I am joined by Guildford Flames captain, Mr. Brett Ferguson. Fergie, welcome back to the show. Thanks once again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always good to chat with you.
So we're a month into the season. We've had lots of comings and going in the Elite League. Like we saw the Elite League go front heavy on the Challenge Cup to start the season. Bit of a slow start for you boys in the cup, but the form seems to be turning. A couple of victories last weekend. How would you assess the early stage, and do you like the way the Elite League are kind of front loading this Challenge Cup schedule?
Yeah, it was a disappointing start for us, obviously, to be where we are in the cup right now. Kind of, with only 3 games left and not sitting in a very good position. But yeah, we are playing better lately, and we know, we have a lot better to play. In our room, we have a lot better to give yet. So we're gonna be we're gonna be keep getting better, and we're gonna be working on some things. But the cup format's a little bit strange, because you used to kind of be able to walk into that second round, and now it's a lot more competitive, right? So we're kind of sitting here like, oh shit, might be on the outside looking in, but all we can do is take care of the next 3 games we have and hope the chips fall in the right place for us.
So for those that don't know, the Elite League always went a one through eight. Everyone goes into the quarterfinals. Now, what they've done this year is they've split the competition. I'm just going to put up the standings here. You got Nottingham Panthers, Sheffield Steelers, Cardiff Devils, Guildford Flames, Manchester Storm, and Coventry Blaze. They're in Pool A, and then you have Belfast Giants, Five Flyers, Dundee Stars, and Glasgow Clan. Now, automatic qualification comes from the top two teams in Group A and the top team in Group B. But then what I do like, and I like because let's call a spade a spade. The fucking Group A is a lot stronger than Group B. We all know that Belfast are probably going to walk through Group A. So instead of have at Group B, sorry. So instead of having a second straight progression from Group B, what we're going to have is the team that finishes in third in Group A play the team that finishes second in Group B, and they're going to play off for that final slot in the Challenge Cup semi-finals. What do you like that, Fergie? I think that adds a little bit of spice. I get why they do the uneven groups because of travel and logistics and cost. Okay, like this is pretty much what the Elite League have said from the start. But do you like it? Do you like the fact that you get that second chance if you finish in third?
Yeah, I don't like it right now because
Because you're not in third. Yeah.
but yeah, it's good. I think it's good, and I think it would create some pretty intense games like right away in that second round. If you're that third team and you're playing against the second team from Group B, like that's going to be a pretty intense matchup there. And then from there, you're right into semifinals, right? So it's kind of like it gets right into it. And I guess from a player's perspective, it it kind of tones down the travel a little bit and a couple less games, or maybe it might end up being the same amount. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's always good to change up formats, and and if at the end of the year they see it and they don't like it, they can always go back to the way it was, right? But it's nice to have a little bit of a change, I think.
I was trying to get him to commit to having some proper fucking playoff series when I interviewed him up at playoff finals weekend. I mean, I know the Challenge Cup is what it is, and they've tried to do something different. So you got to kind of give them respect on that. They've tried something a little bit different. My thing is, I would rather they I don't know how you feel about this idea, but make the Challenge Cup a Final Four weekend, i.e., like what they how they have the Final Four weekend. So you still get the 10 teams fans rocking up at one venue. Let's keep it at Nottingham, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
But the Challenge Cup gets played more like the Frozen Four, and then come the end of the season, we have some full on playoff battles. Best of five, best of seven. As a player and as a North American player, is that something that you would like to see?
Well, for sure. Like growing up, it was all about playoffs, right? It was always, the playoffs was just a different breed of hockey, and it is in this league too. Like you get to the playoffs, and it takes another step up from the regular season and everything. And it'd be nice to have some of those series rather than the 2 game aggregate, because like you play one bad game in that, and you're pretty much hooped.
Yeah, yeah.
But I understand from their side of it too, with building availability and everything for some of these teams that don't have,
That is the problem.
yeah, a free run on their rink. Like it's a tough one, and I'm sure they've looked into it and everything, and they're doing the best they can. But it would be cool to play a series, even if they made it a best of three instead of the aggregate would be good in my opinion. But again, there's other people making those decisions, not me.
Think how they do it in France when they do the best of three, if I'm not mistaken. For example, the higher seeds, I don't know, let's say Belfast win the league and Fife finish in eighth, and that's your round one playoff battle. Fife Belfast would go into Fife for the first game, and then they would go back to Belfast and play the Saturday and, if needed, the Sunday. So they would then host the last two games of the series. So the
Yeah.
team that finished the lower seed would host first, and the team that finished the higher seed would finish second. And I think that's something that could potentially work in the UK. It limits the travel. You don't then have to. The problem they do have, and I completely understand, like if fucking Taylor Swift's going to be selling out the Sheffield Arena on a Sunday, and the Steelers are going to go, hey, we might need the ice on Sunday, or we might not, but we won't know until fucking 9:30 p.m. Saturday. I get it's a hard sell, and I do get it, it's a hard sell. But just from like the purist factor and the love of the game factor, to see you boys get to battle it out in some proper series, where you get that niggle, you get that fuck you get to not like these guys.
Yeah.
Like you remember the cross check, you remember the slash when you're skating into the corner. There isn't 16 games in between or anything. Like it's right on top of each other, night in, night out, and ultimately the fans are the one that benefit because the product is unbelievable. Then.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, like the the problem with the two game aggregate is that like, sometimes you can have a bad game or maybe someone your goalie gets hurt or something, and then all of a sudden it's like it's kind of you're in this huge hole. Whereas if you had more of a series, you can kind of play the long game a little bit. Um, and it just like you said, the hockey just gets better and better. It gets more intense. You can feel the rivalry building throughout the series. So it would be good to see, but like I said, I don't see it happening.
Like,
Just
I'm sure. Sorry.
just with the building availability and everything, like, you
Yeah,
know.
it's such a shame. Like we are kind of at the ties of at the main arenas, like so your big dog arenas is concerts and stuff, and then your lower down level, or even like a Spectrum, for example, or a Coventry, they need 400 people in having a fucking skating session on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. 2 hours before face off, so that they can keep the lights on. I do understand. I understand there's logistics behind it, but just that hockey purist in me loves the fact that,
Yeah.
like I bet if we call Liam Kirk onto this show right now and say, Kirky, what did you think of playing in the fucking Czech playoffs last year? And how about you just score 9 tucks in 2 rounds and lead the playoff scoring? He only played 2 rounds and led the scoring in Czech
Yeah.
playoffs. Like this,
Impressive.
if you're not following along with Kirky so far, ladies and gents, he is playing for Berlin in the DEL. They've played 5 games. He's got 4 tucks and he's got 2 apples. And just picked right up where he left off in Czech. The kid's kind of living the dream right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit jealous. Like, so he went from the UK to North America. He played, then he went into the obviously NHL training camps. Came back, played in Sweden, then played in Finland, then played in Czech. Now he's playing in Germany. His passport must be fucking rammer jammered, and like just chuck in like leading the scoring in the world champs a couple of years back. Like, how's that for a career? And he's
Yeah.
like 24 or something.
And hopefully he just keeps getting better and better, and there'd be uh more opportunity and more, hopefully more money on the table for him as he goes along.
Yeah, I imagine he's doing okay in Berlin.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and those boys in Litvinov, they make some cash as well. They're not one of the higher end Czech teams in terms of budget, but I think the boys get looked after and damn sight more than they're getting paid in the elite league. So long may it continue. We love to see one of the British boys out there mucking it up and making some money. And
Yeah.
hopefully for him, his NHL dream's not dead.
You never know. I mean, there's lots of examples of guys, there's been a couple guys that even went to my university that were like 25 by the time they even went over to Europe, and they found their way back to the NHL at 30. So it's not out of the question. And the NHL is they're going to take the best players available. They don't
Yeah.
care where they are or where they're from. They're going to take the best players available. So if he's out there and he's one of them, they'll find him.
Yeah, and like he's shown that like wherever he's been, whether it be Finland, whether it be Czech, whether it be Germany, you put the puck on his stick in front of the net, he's gonna fucking score a goal. Like he's done it at the World Champs. You don't score 7 goals in the World Champs. You're looking, he's scoring against NHL goaltenders. Like these
Yeah.
guys aren't smucks. Like they're NHL caliber goalkeepers, and he's putting pucks by him. Obviously, got a soft spot for Kirky. Grew up watching him as a kid, and it's just nice to see a Brit take a fucking gamble, go for it. And he's shown with like a bit of belief and a lot of work ethic. And so, hey, don't get me wrong, some breaks along the way and everything that has to fall into place. But any
Well,
of you
even
young
he even had he had a pretty bad injury one year too, didn't he? That kind of
too.
maybe held him back a little bit, like, and now he's maybe catching up. So, near those prime development years, an injury like that can be pretty detrimental. So that's obviously speaks a lot to his resilience in coming back and being where he is right now.
And you'll know at your age as well as I do at mine now. You think you're fully grown and you're fucking fully man strong when you're that age. You're fucking nowhere near it, man. Like you keep growing, you keep getting thicker, you start filling out, you get stronger.
Yeah.
He's got all that to come yet. Like he's still gonna grow into that frame a bit more. Like he's a tall boy. He's got good range on his stick and he's fucking fast. If he adds another 10 kilos to his frame, Jesus, he's gonna be a wrecking machine.
Unit out there.
What have you made of having young Josh Waller back with the Guildford Flames? A friend of mine. It's nice to see Wally come down and sign in Surrey again.
Yeah, it's been awesome having him back. I love the kid. He's a great kid. He's always got a good attitude, smile on his face. I think that was 20, I played with him 2017 and 2018, before he went to Cardiff. And he always knew he was going to be pretty good. Like he had a ton of talent. He could fly around the ice. He had nice hands. And at that point, like he was like so skinny, so yeah, almost small. And then
Just
now,
like wiry little guy then, wasn't he?
yeah, now you see him and he's like he's filled out, he's strong, he's like makes, some smarter decisions with the puck than he did back then and everything. So it's good. And he's still settling in here too. It's a new team for him. Like I'm the only guy around that was here when he was here before. So for him it's not like coming back to an old team. It's like basically coming to a completely new team. And he's done well on the international stage. Scored a couple goals this year in the qualifiers. He's obviously a mainstay on their team now in the World Champs. I think he's a really good player and like more importantly, just like a really good guy.
Yeah, he's an absolute fucking diamond of a kid. Love Josh. Great attitude. For me, one of the best skaters in the Elite League. Just like that for me personally, if you take the fucking stick out of my hand, then I'm not going to be I can skate, but I'm not going to be like flying around out there. You kind of feel like if you put Josh in a pair of figure skates, like he could skate. Like he could just if that was it, and there was no kit, and there was no stick, and there was no nothing. His pure skating ability. You have another guy on your team he skates like the fucking wind. Tate.
Yeah, so I just try not to be on the ice when they're both out there at the same time.
Yeah, right. Just
Zones behind.
I'll be high guy. It's fine. Like, I'll be beating you
Yeah,
back to the fucking D zone.
yeah.
Like just,
Yeah,
but
between those two, you just like try and line yourself up in line of practice so you don't have to go against them, or else they're just gonna blow the doors off of you.
yeah, you get a back checking drill and you got Tate fucking taking 3 strides and going from the top of the circles to the far blue. You're like,
Yeah.
it's not even
Yeah.
fair.
They're both just great. Wally's like just technically so nice. Like it's just
Yeah,
like it's almost like his skating
textbook.
built in a lab or something. Like
Yeah, it's like legit straight out
yeah,
of a manual.
yeah. Tater's a little bit more like unorthodox, but obviously
Just A to B guy, just
there you go. He just gets there as fast as he can. Yeah. Yeah, and they're both like talented too. I think they're both gonna have great seasons this year.
See, for me, like obviously, I think Tate's a good player. I just wonder if he had more like finishing and ability and stuff like that. We would have never seen this motherfucker on these shorts. Like he skates way too fast. Like if he just had like I don't know like that AHL goaltend, not goaltending, goal scoring.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
that guy could be anywhere he wants to be. He is that quick on his skates.
he still he scores. He scores like he had
Oh yeah, yeah.
30 goals 2 years ago, a bunch last year. Like he can still score. I mean, obviously, if any of us had a elite scoring ability, we might
That's
be.
very, very true, bud.
So yeah, but
He's fun
I
to watch, man. He's so fun to watch. Like, 'cause you
yeah.
see him get the puck in the D zone, and like some guys, you can see him get in the D zone. You can check your phone or whatever, look back up. You can't do that with him because if he gets a puck in the fucking D zone, he takes 3 strides and he's driving defenses back on top of their goaltender all the time. He's so explosive and so fast, like
Yeah, you
exceptional.
you even see D-men now, just like you see he gets the puck and they just turn around and start skating.
It's a good, probably a good move. Like, just get on that horse and fucking hope for the best. Just
Yeah,
direct line to the goalpost and hopefully he doesn't toe drag you. You've
yeah.
you got some new boys on the roster this year, and you've lost a couple of guys. Sad to obviously see friends go and stuff like that, but exciting to bring some new blood in and try and like achieve some silverware here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one thing that's so awesome about hockey is like it pretty much can guarantee that you're going to get along really well with a lot of the guys that come in. So as sad as it is to see guys leave and go do different things and go to different teams or whatever, you just kind of know in the back of your head that whoever's coming in is probably going to be one of your good pals as well, you know. So we brought in a lot of guys, and that was one of the focus that Paul Dixon had was like making sure they were all going to be good dressing room guys, good guys that were not only good players but people that you wanted to spend the next 8.5 months of your life with, working with, and seeing
Yeah,
every day.
especially at this stage now, like with how tight it is and the roster limits and budgets and stuff like that. Realistically, your coaches, GMs, and anyone else that's responsible for making these hires and bringing these players in, they can't fuck it up. Like you've got to be sure that that guy is going to fit in and be a good dude. And do you know what? If he can stick 50 points on the board as well, absolutely great. But he first and foremost needs to be a good dude that the boys want to be around and training every day. That if you go into the fucking corner, he's got your back. That's a big part of it.
For sure. I mean, yeah, you only have so many visas to use for the import guys, and even if you don't need visas for the local guys, like it's you got to get they got to be a guy that everyone wants to get along with and everything, because one bad apple can sometimes affect the performance of a few guys, and you can't have one guy. You can only be as strong as your weakest link, and um, I think we've done a good job of that. All our guys fit in well. Everyone's having a good time. A lot of guys you start to see the friendship groups within the team develop, and there's a lot of guys that love hanging out with each other, and the guys that are here with wives and girlfriends, they seem to all get along, and then the guys that are on their own they're always hanging out and everything. So it's a good mix, and we got some good players too. Like I said, it's been a slow start, but I do think we got a lot more to show. And as we get guys stepping up a little bit more, I think it'll be really good for our squad.
Like just echoing what you said about the wives and girlfriends. So I caught my first game, you boys, this year was Cardiff at home. I'm up talking to Franksy on the legacy stand and on the merchandise stand. Some great merch you guys have this year. But like the girls come up and they're wanting jackets made and they're all fucking excited and like Franksy's like designing shit. And it's good. Like the girls are excited. They want to be part of it. They feel a part of it. And it's like it was like for me as an ex-player, just stood there. I was like, that's a fucking good energy them girls are bringing. Like
Yeah,
they want to be involved. They want to support the boys. And for the guys that are fucking 3,000 to 4,000 miles away from home,
yeah,
that's crucial for an 8 9 month slog.
for sure. Yeah, you get a bottle of wine in those girls, and just have a
Just go getting after it. Hey,
yeah.
I'll drink to that. I like cheers, cheers, guys. Absolutely. Um, what I also like, I hear you boys pretty much have mandatory golf. I mean, it's not mandatory, but I hear there's quite a few boys that like to play. And if I'm not mistaken, is your new goalie? Isn't he a fucking stick?
Oh man, there's so many of them. They're all like unreal. They're just they're I've never seen a team with so many like really good golfers. Like we're talking guys that are almost like scratch golfers playing 1-2 handicaps. Like Kupski, the goalie you're talking about, like he just looks the part. Like everything about him just looks like he's a good golfer.
He's just packed golf gear from North America, nothing else. So
Yeah,
he just like all the best fucking polos, looking
yeah.
sharp.
Yeah, they're good. And those guys, a lot of them, I mean, I try and get out with them every once in a while, but a lot of them are out, at least twice a week, like
Love that.
while the weather's decent. Anyways, I mean, I think around here, I don't know if we're in a kind of nice little pocket around Guilford, but it seems like we don't get as much rain as some of the other places. So we have guys golfing in the middle of November, December, January, still going out. And well, you would know just being from
Yeah.
around, there's like a ton of good courses.
Oh,
Like
unbelievable.
I mean, there's a few courses around here that we'll never get on, but
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
yeah, but there's some really nice ones for like a decent.
Reasonable money.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
You get all the North American guys bitching about not being able to take a buggy. They got to walk. They're like,
Get on your legs, boys. You're professional athletes. Come on.
yeah, yeah,
Carry that fucking bag. Let's go.
yeah,
Um, I remember I remember one time, I don't know, like 3, 4 years ago, and I carry most of the time, but obviously I'm waiting on a hip replacement. So my hip's not good, and I'm like, right, I'm going to use my trolley because I quite like using the trolley as well. Got the old electric trolley. Off it goes. I got a message from Tommy Watkins, the Telford Tigers coach. What the fuck is that? Pick your fucking bag up, kid. And I was like, kid, I'm 35, but okay, but okay. Like, I feel shame. Fuck. Just
yeah,
like riding me still. Sorry, there's a fly in here. But yeah, it's good to have fun with the boys. And you said you're not having the greatest start. Do you know what helps shit like that is going out, go golf with the boys, go to movies, go Nando's, fucking go on the
yeah,
piss, do whatever. Like, like get the wives and girlfriends to cook up a fucking feast. You will go around each other's houses, whatever it is. It's a long year, but if you can bond really quickly, that's massive in the stretch.
yeah. Oh, for sure. And that's, something we try and do a lot of is the team bonding aspect. And, you know, like and any team, you're gonna have guys that gel better with certain guys than others. But, it's important to like set aside time for everyone to get together and, because sometimes you don't really unless you get to really know a guy, um, you sometimes you don't understand maybe why he's not playing that well or whatever, and then you get to know him a little bit and you understand. You say, "Oh wow, okay, this guy's got some shit going on that I didn't really know
Yeah.
about. He right now he could just use a good buddy more than anything,
Yeah.
That sort of stuff really helps for sure."
Do you find with your leadership role, wearing a C there, do you find like you have to be more on the ball, that kind of stuff, or does that come naturally to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like to organize stuff and I like to get the boys together. I'm not a gamer or anything like that. So I'm like, sitting there sometimes. I'm like, okay, boys, get off the Xbox. We're going to the
I'm
pub.
fucking bored. Like, let's go to the pub.
Yeah,
Yeah, like let's go
yeah,
throw some arrows, play some pool, just do
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess in my role too, I mean, I guess it's important for me to be leading the charge in that. And I also don't ever want guys to think like I'd ever be judging them if they went out and had a couple beers. Obviously, wouldn't want
No,
them to
of
do
course
it
not.
the night before a game or something. But so
Yeah, times have changed from the early days of the league.
yeah, so I'm usually right there with them,
Yeah,
and
it's good, right?
yeah, just you go out, you have some laughs, and then you come back and in the dressing room, you just feels a little looser the next day. You're just kind of like everyone's a little bit more relaxed and just kind of you get a little bit of swagger in your team because you're all good buddies and you want to play for each other. And that's something that, as a captain, I'm, still learning and will probably always be learning about is how to just bring together a group and try and really try and play for each other. Or, whether it's in hockey or business and stuff, I think a leader should be someone that's bringing the group together to just try and achieve that common goal. And if those little things make the difference at the end of the day, then it's obviously more important than anything else, right?
Absolutely. What sort of role does Digger play in that? Obviously, Digger being the coach, does he take a standoffish approach, or does like I fucking love Digger, like especially you get a couple of pops and a Geordie boy. Like, does Digger ever make it out for a round of golf or ever make it out for a beer with the boys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's still one of the boys, and like
Love that, by the way, so
yeah,
much.
you got to remember, like he was in our shoes for so many years.
So, by the way, so many being like the major part of that, like 23-year, 24-year career, this dude.
Yeah. So I'm sure sometimes in his head he's probably like, fuck, I'd love to go out with these guys, but
Yeah, no, love it.
but he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can't. But yeah, he'll he'll come he'll swing them a few times and he'll come hang out with the boys. But I think he finds a good balance at it. At the same time, he's our boss and he's got to separate himself in the sense that if he's ever got to make a tough decision about a guy, it's can't be too personal, you know?
Yeah. And I
It,
think hockey players kind of understand that, especially more so the North American boys and the boys in Europe. Like, if you ain't getting the fucking job done, out you 5,000, my friend. Goodbye. Like, and you guys are so used to it. You're getting traded from 16, you're getting cut from fucking midget trials, you're getting cut from midget AAA trials, you're not getting NCAA scholarship offers you thought you were gonna get. And over here, the talent pool is such a smaller pool to pick from tends not to happen with the Brits boys so much. It's very rare that a team going to go out and sack a Brit.
yeah, that would
Like
I haven't seen it happen really. I mean,
I genuinely can't think. Right, here's one for you fans. When was the last major Brit sacking? I
yeah.
got nothing. I couldn't even guess the year. I'm talking like a, like a sacking a Jonah Phillips, sacking a Mark Richardson. Like it a Dowdy. It doesn't happen. Like sacking a big guy, it doesn't happen. Whereas, as you say, for argument's sake, I don't know, Tedesco. If Digger has to, and I'm not saying, right, this is purely for argument's sake, bearing in mind Tedesco lit the lamp for fucking unbelievable amount of times 2 years ago. But I'm saying if Digger has to then make that decision, he has to be able to put that in a box over there, but still be able to have a beer with a guy here and it not be like too overlapped. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's tough. I'm kind of happy I'm not in that position right
Yeah,
now.
no, I don't want
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It would be tough to, like, and I know he never takes that part of it lightly. Like it bugs him probably more than it actually bugs the guy because he doesn't like doing it, because it is a guy has, uprooted his life and came over and, basically given this time out of his life to this team and but like you said, I do think guys understand when they're not getting it done. They can see that it's the business side of it, it's the team side of it. It's more than just it's not personal, is I guess is what I'm trying to say. And
It's
Digger,
rarely personal, is it?
yeah, and Digger's always done a good job of saying that, even not even in regards to someone being sacked. Like if he's got a rip on a guy for a poor performance or something, it's like he's like, hey, it's not you the person, it's you the hockey player, and
Yes, it's just everything you stand for and yeah, and everything you work for since you were five and every hockey
yeah.
camp you've ever done. It's just fucking not good enough. But apart from that, like, don't worry about it. But like a lot of guys respond fucking great to a kick in the ass because sometimes as humans, as hockey, especially as hockey players, we can switch off a little bit. Our minds can wander a little bit. 9 months is a fucking long time to grind it out and being at the rink 4 days a week and then being on the bus fucking 12 hours of time. And you know what? Sometimes you're gonna turn up and you're just not. As long as your effort's there, I don't think Digger would ever care. But
Yeah.
sometimes, the puck's gonna bounce off your stick. It's gonna go under your stick when it's an empty net. You're gonna fucking fall over on a back check. Like sometimes it's just not gonna be your day and shit happens. But you sure as fuck better come ready to play the next game. Like you better be the first hit on the fucking tick list. You better be the first shot on goal. You better be the fucking first block shot. Do something for the team. You don't have to score a goal. You don't have to set up a pretty play, but you have to do the intangibles, the blocking shots. You have to make the hits. You have to show the coach that, hey, I'm ready. I just had a shit game.
Yeah, sure. And there's a lot of good players that do that. They make their living, finding ways to have an impact on the game if the puck's not going in for them at that time or something. You got to, like you said, you got to block the shot or be heavy on the forecheck and create space for other guys, or even just be a rat if you have to.
Love that, by the way. Like, if you got to do that, I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, and
Now that Turner's gone, who's the rat? Because Turner was a rat little prick. I fucking loved him. Like I loved him. Like,
I
who's the
don't
rat
know,
now? I
probably
bet
me.
some people would say you, right?
Yeah, probably me.
Do you know what I've been watching? Just last night, Bar Down currently have the NHL boys doing like who's the best on the other team and like who's the guy you hate playing against. And they've got all the boys in. So they did an Ottawa Senators one last night, and they did the Maple Leafs one the night before. By the way, great content. It's literally 20 minutes of like the NHL boys sitting in front of the camera. They're having fun. They're loose. And the
Yeah.
questions are kind of good because they're like, who's the team you like to fucking wind up the most? And who's the team that you scored your most goals against? And they're putting them in like semi uncomfortable situations, but enough if you were like, basically, Tim Stutzler just came on, and for every answer was just the Habs, the
Yeah.
Habs, the Habs, the Habs. And then they played Habs in preseason, and someone fucking elbows him in the head. So
Oh, yeah.
maybe they got the content early, maybe they didn't. But obviously, Guildford, they don't produce a lot of off ice content. But is there a few fun guys in that locker room that you think would be like good in front of the camp? Because we're in the Instagram age, like we're in the TikTok age, like the kids love it. I sound so
Yeah.
old. I sound so old, man. I just the kids love it. Who would be the guy that if you had to put one guy in front of the camera just to G up everybody and like have some fun? Who would you pick
Yeah.
on the Flames?
I mean, there's so many characters in that dressing room, like Wilichka's hilarious, like Travis Brown, he's a beauty. He's just like so interesting. I just love talking to him. Like Sean Norris.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I've known Shorty since he was a kid. Yeah,
yeah, like he's such a funny little guy. Like
another handsome little prick.
yeah, yeah,
Too
he
good looking that kid.
he is. Yeah, I'd put those guys on the camera. They're just good quality content, like and it just seems like those guys, it's just something you just never gonna expect, and then all of a sudden the whole room's laughing and whatever.
How have you found like the obviously because you've been here so long now, and the British contingent's changed a fair bit, and it's changed again, and it's changed. That's a question I always like to ask the imports because I'm sure you didn't know too much about the British boys before you come over, and then you come over and like my favorite is like they come over and they get put in a house with like Davy Phillips, and I'm like, what was that like? They just like, do you know what I mean? Like, how if you don't know, do you know Davy at all?
I know Davey a bit, yeah, just from playing against him a bunch, and then I played with his brother Kevin here.
Yeah, Kev's a beauty.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Kev's like so Kev's horizontal and Davy's fucking hyperactive. Like,
I've heard the stories about Davey because I think him and Benny O'Connor were pretty close, so
yeah.
got the
Oh,
good.
there's another one, Benny O'Connor. Like, there's
Yeah,
different levels of Brit craziness. And like you
yeah,
get to play with these guys. Was that let's talk about that real quick. Was that a big shock seeing Benny move on in the summer?
yeah. I think so. I mean, he had a couple of pretty good seasons here
Really good. Yeah.
and everything. So you kind of know wherever he's going to go, he's going to put up some good numbers and stuff because he's so talented. Like he has kind of all the tools there and everything. I think at the end of the day, it was maybe just a time for a change for him and the team, and it was. I think he's doing well so far, and I know he's gonna probably score on us this year because it just seems.
100%.
Yeah,
It's gonna go through the legs, fucking
yeah,
toe drag through the legs, fake clap or whatever. Like
yeah.
Benny does it. Benny does it. Did you see his goal against Canada?
I did. I was actually just gonna bring that up. That was unbelievable.
Like the guy just scores like highlight reel goals. I
Yeah,
remember texting him after. I just went, "What the fuck? Like, what did you just do? Like, that was
that's
Canada. Like,
yeah.
you can see by his like reaction. He's like, fuck, that went in. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
being funny. Like, not only is he British, but he's British Canadian. The old man's Canadian.
yeah,
Talk about like if you wrote a dream down. Like that, it just came true. It wasn't like he fucking chucked a knuckleball wrister in from the point that hit three leg pads and went in.
No.
He undressed the D man, went forehand, backhand, crossbody, shelf. It's like,
Yeah. I don't know if they did like a top goal of the tournament or something, but that had to have been
gotta
it,
be.
right? Yeah.
I didn't see a better one. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't see a better. Do you know what? One time I tried to read Benny's accomplishments out on here. Do you know the
Yeah.
elite prospects? And I was going through, I was like Kazakhstan best and Kazakhstan most and Kazakhstan and I was like,
Yeah.
he's fucking good at hockey. Like that was just like I gave up on trying to like Elite League first all-star, Elite League best
Yeah.
defenseman. And you just keep going season, season, season. Yeah, have you ever known a player get as much shit from the fans? Mainly Sheffield fans, granted. Like I sometimes you don't know where your fucking bread's buttered because you had a diamond there. And if you do in person, that's a problem. A lot of these people have very strong opinions about Ben, yet have never met the guy. Like he's such a fucking good dude. Like such a good dude. I can't explain to anybody that doesn't know him what a good dude he is.
Yeah.
Um, did you find that in Guildford, or did he kind of? I feel he kind of maybe went a little bit more under the radar in Guildford. He could just get on and play his hockey a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was gonna say with that goal that he scored against Canada, like it wasn't even all that surprising because I've seen him do that stuff because you see him in practice every day and he's got, awesome hands and good skill and he's just like got that little bit of like confidence in him where he's just not scared to try basically anything. But yeah, in terms of coming to Guilford, yeah, for sure, I think he was able to fly, a little bit under the radar, not so much in the spotlight like he would have been in Sheffield. But I guess it could be said about anyone, anywhere you play and you be around long enough, you're gonna create enough uh not enemies, but people who want to boo you somewhere or whatever. It's just the way it goes, right? I mean, he's
My thing was though they got a bit deep with Benny on social media, and they're bringing all sorts of stuff into the mix that shouldn't be happening. Right, we're a very small fucking community in the UK ice hockey world, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's something
boo
that
him when he plays against you. Fuck yeah.
yeah,
Leave everything else at the door. And I've seen it with other players in the league, and I'm not going to bring them up, but we've seen it with other players in the league. You know what? Players make mistakes. Players do stuff off the ice. Players do whatever on the ice. The personal shit and do you know probably worse still? The referees. Like these guys are human. They fuck up, right? They do fuck up. You message them on Twitter to tell them you're gonna meet them in the car park and glass them and stuff is not okay. Like that's not okay. Like take a chill pill because this season's like 4 weeks old and my fucking message box is like, so we've had this and we've had this and we've had this.
yeah.
I
I
don't I
mean,
don't get where they come off.
somewhere along the line, somewhere along the way, that whole line that you shouldn't cross with social media and everything has just disappeared. And it's super sad to see that some people choose to take that approach on things. Like it's almost like people should be locked off of social media for 48 hours just to because
Post game. Post game, like post
say
game ban.
things they shouldn't they don't mean or whatever in the heat of the moment or something. But at the same time, I can see where it happens because there's no accountability to it, right? Like you don't you just have to stand behind your keyboard and say something. You don't have to go face to face with a guy and look him in the eye and say that, which they would never say, right?
If you saw that ref stood at the fucking Costa lane with his three kids buying them fucking soda and coffee for
Yeah,
himself, you're not going up to that guy and motherfucking him because you're just not doing it. Like, unless you're like an absolute degenerate of a human being and a piece of shit, you're not going to do it. So I would encourage you not to do it online. And to a way lesser extent, obviously, when I go to a game now, I have no ties to any clubs. Like the only elite league club that I played for was Guilford, so obviously I have a soft spot for Guildford. But I don't give a shit if you boys win. I'm sorry, mate. I don't. I don't care if like it's not going to make my day any better. It's not going to make my day any worse. I don't care. So
yeah,
when I go to a game, I'm purely a neutral. I do it from a podcast perspective. If you boys have I said to you off air, like the game that we went to, didn't think you boys were very good. Like I'm not here to like bum anybody up. And if I'm coming to the game on Sunday. If you boys play sick, I'll say to you, you boys are unbelievable. Whatever. Like it's no skin off my nose. But what gets me is like you boys have three clear penalties in the fucking first period against Cardiff, and like the block that I'm sitting up in watching the game. They're like, fucking ref, and whoa. I'm like, you can't hook a guy in the head. It's a penalty. Like,
Yeah.
nope, no, they like just pure rose tints. And it's like, you can't have six guys on the ice. It's too many men. Yeah, but no, but and I'm like, do you know what? I'm just gonna sit and watch the game and
Yeah.
enjoy my. I'm just gonna enjoy myself. And do you know that you said like you don't have it face to face? I don't want to argue with fucking people about
Yeah.
hockey, but like
I know.
also like take the rose tints off.
Yeah. I mean, it in the heat of a game, like, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'll say to a ref, like, that's not a good call with a couple,
You owe us one, and you try and
yeah.
get in their ear, right? Like, yeah, you owe us
Um,
one here.
but like that's where it ends, right? It ends in the game. Like, you don't go afterwards and say something to them. You shake their hand in the hallway after or something, and you say, see you next time. Like, there shouldn't be any, and that should be from a spectator standpoint too. It's like, whatever. If you want to yell during the game, do it. That you paid for your right to be there, and you can do that. But yeah, I think that's where it should end, there shouldn't be the Twitter X messages and Instagram messages after. And it's just like at that point, it's just like, all right, come on, like get a life, you
Yeah,
know? So
yeah.
that's
Like, please don't, folks. Like, and the other thing is, officials are few and far between in this country, and I speak to some of these guys. Be careful what you fucking wish for, because if these guys hang them up, you're gonna get a bunch of guys out the National League that are not ready yet because they're not finished cooking yet. And they're not like they've got to get their reps in. These boys had to get their reps in the EPL and the BNL and the leagues that they were prior to the Elite League. So now the National League is going to be the feeding ground. Careful what you wish for because you keep pushing these referees away, and eventually we have none, and you're getting guys that are really, really not ready stepping up because there's nobody else. And then what you end up with is an absolute clusterfuck and players getting injured, and that's not what we want. Like player safety comes number one, and player safety stems from the officials.
Yeah, for sure. We need them, and the most important thing we can do is work with them to, whether they need to put us in our place or we need to help them, get to a better position for themselves. I mean, we can't play the game without them, right? And I do feel for some of the guys sometimes when they take their, Saturday, Sunday nights away from their family and then just have a couple thousand people, you know.
Just shit kicking them in 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's interesting because I watched the game on the Sunday night versus Cardiff there, and I stood with Matt Thompson. Matt Thompson was one of the top officials in the UK for a very long time. He's now doing a little bit of kind of review work for the Elite League and for the officials. He's part of the review team at the National League Department of Player Safety, and we're standing there, and he's going, "Fuck, I wouldn't have called that, and I would have called that," and
yeah,
we're watching the game together, and we're fucking 3 centimeters apart watching this game, watching
yeah,
exactly the same thing and we have differing views on different things. And he even has differing views on from what the officials are seeing on the ice. And it's just where you're stood, what you're watching, what player your eye is fully focused on, what your peripheral vision. These are all things that I'm talking with that close watching the game together and seeing different things.
yeah.
Um,
And the game's so fast now. Like it's like you can understand how things get missed or things
easy.
interpreted differently from a different point of view. So, you got to have a little bit of patience and lenience because, you know, you can't just go out there every night and get 10 power plays, no penalty kills and
Yeah,
whatever.
that'd be the dream, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're on that kind of fucking third, fourth line cusp, and then you're like, boys, like even to the other team, you're like, stop getting penalties. I want to get on the ice. You
Yeah.
just get,
Yeah.
like when you shift along the bench, and then they
Yeah.
go, oh, PP, fucking ready, back you go, back you go, and then like, whoa, nope,
Yeah.
psych. Oh, penalty kill now. Nope. Back you go. And as a team perspective, we talk about like team in the game. Obviously, we all want fucking all of the ice time. We all do. But we know that's not, you can't do that 54 games. It just doesn't work. But obviously, on a night, in an ideal world, before the first PEP or the first fucking penalty kill, you want everyone to get a rep.
For
Like,
sure.
you want your fourth line to get on, you want your fucking seventh D man to get on, you want everyone to have a touch of the park or a hit or a fucking scrum or just something to go, wow, I'm in
Yeah,
this game. I'm in this fucking hockey game. Because what happens is if you go line one, line two, line three are about to go, but then the other team get a penalty, PP1 goes out. And then
yeah,
PP2 goes out. And then you come out and PP2's tired, so they hook a guy, and now it's PK1, PK2. And
yeah,
before you know it, you're 7, 8, 9 minutes into a game, and some guys have fucking stood there with a thumb up their ass on the bench, and they've not touched the ice. That is very difficult. I can't explain to you fans like how difficult that is. So you went from the warm up, and then took your fucking upper half off, you chucked a snooze in, drank the rest of your coffee, you're sitting there, you're ready to go, and then you might not get a rep for it might only be 10 clock minutes,
yeah,
but 10 clock minutes can be 30 minutes,
yeah,
depending on how stop start the game is. It is so difficult to then go, hey, skate as fast as you can and back check Ryan
yeah,
Tate. You're like,
yeah.
what? My legs don't work. What are you talking about? Like, I don't want to be on the ice for that guy. And yet you don't have a choice, and that is it. How is it how important is it for you boys to stay out the fucking box this year? Because if you're gonna be successful in Guildford, you're not like the biggest budget team. You have to be successful on the PP and you have to stay out the box.
Yeah, for sure. And we've had some meetings about that because we did have some undisciplined play, myself included. Um,
Ooh.
So yeah, it's huge for us. I mean, and I think Paul does try and build the team that's, really fast and really skilled so that we can, create those opportunities where we have the puck and we're drawing penalties so that we are on the power play more than we are on the kill. Um, but it's huge. Like you can't take 6, 7 penalties against like pretty much all of these teams.
Anyone in that league now.
All these teams have like top end guys that are going to hurt you on their power play. Maybe if you take 2 or 3 penalties, you can kill those off, but you get those guys out there, when you're playing against some of these top end guys, like they're going to hurt you eventually. And like you said, like taking penalty after penalty, like takes the wind out of your sails because there's certain guys, like especially for like when you're on the penalty kill all the time, some of your best players, like your most talented offensive players, are sitting there for 7, 8 minutes, clock minutes, right? And then
Yeah, you don't need Tedesco getting his fucking knee blown off on a penalty kill for one timer. Like,
yeah, so yeah, it's okay if my knee gets blown off.
yeah, you're fucked, bud. Like, yeah, yeah.
But
It's
uh,
you're in that like kind of, like, well, the team that playing against you, like Benny Davis, Sammy Duggan, the two British boys that kill the penalties for them.
yeah,
I'm not saying Pete doesn't care if they get injured, but he doesn't care if they block a fucking shot. And he's
Mhm.
like, and they're like the Duracell bunny, man. They just go and they go and they go and they go.
Yeah.
But again, if they're on the ice, that means Joey Martin is not on the ice. Like,
That's exactly it. And that can, like, well, obviously that's something that high-end players should be able to flip that switch and be like, okay, now's my time to go. Now we're even, like, let's go, even though I've been sitting here 70 minutes. But mentally it's tough when you've been sitting there for so long and your sweat's dried up, you start to get a little cold or something. You're like, it can take it out of you.
yeah, five away. You've done the warm up. You got a nice sweat on, and you don't get shit for 17 minutes. Got hypothermia. Like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah. And from a team perspective like ours, like if we're killing penalties all the time, like that's just less time that we have to create offense and try and
Yeah,
win the game, right? So you know, you need to be disciplined. Every team needs to be disciplined, and it's something that I'm sure every coach harps on. And you just kind of hope that you can have more power plays than the other team because you've had better puck possession and you've forced them into making mistakes that put them out of positions that make them take those penalties and whatnot. But the discipline aspect doesn't just go as far as taking penalties. It's, you got to be disciplined in your positioning. You got to be disciplined in your, ability to win one-on-one battles and come out of the corner with pucks and get pucks out of the zone. Because at the end of the day, the team that makes more mistakes is probably going to be the team that loses. So
Yeah.
that's all discipline right there is limiting your mistakes. Mistakes are penalties, like those are mistakes. Turnovers, mistakes, not getting a puck out, not clearing a puck on the penalty kill, not bearing down on faceoffs. Like those are discipline, those are things that you need to be disciplined in. And that's one thing, we're really stressing on is just being disciplined, obviously, in terms of penalties, but also disciplined in our positional play and in our
Yeah, stopping when you're supposed to stop, not giving it the big fucking button hook and blowing the zone when you should be, you should be tight on your man.
and that stuff's hard, man. Like it's hard
Yeah, it sucks.
a
Yeah.
single shift to just stop on loose pucks to make sometimes you want to make a play at the blue line, but it takes that little bit of discipline to just get it deep and get a change and get some fresh guys out there and stuff.
That's the
It's
worst, eh? Because like the fans are like, shoot! And you're like, my fucking legs don't move, man. Like, and Digger's gonna kill me if I do not chuck this puck in the corner and just come for a change.
yeah,
And the fans are like, shoot, you can shoot. I'm like, yeah, I know I can shoot. But if I fucking wind back and someone like Josh Waller picks a puck off of me, I can't back
yeah,
check him.
no,
Like I
no,
can't I can't catch him. Like it's impossible.
yeah,
That's the discipline that I think maybe some of the fans or some people that never played the game might not understand. Stopping on pucks,
yeah,
staying in lanes, skate like you can see the guy here blowing past you and you want to skate to him, but you skate to that post. You skate to the post. You take the shortest route to the safest option, and it's back to the house.
yeah.
And that's a disciplined move.
Something as simple as just having your stick on the ice in the D zone. It's
Yeah.
just like, the pass might go through and it might be to a guy that's open and it doesn't look like it's your guy. But if you had your stick on the ice, like maybe the guy's not even attempting that pass because he's got to go through sticks or
He's got something to think about, right?
yeah. So it's something as simple as just having your stick on the ice or, going into a corner battle and taking an angle where, you can't get beat back to your net, stuff like that. It's all tough. It's tough to do that every shift, every night for 65 nights or however many games we play.
It's a lot.
And then the other part of that is like those habits have to be built in practice. So you're doing those 4 times, you got to do that 4 times a week as well. And to make sure it's, muscle memory, it can't even be something you have to think about. It's just got to
It's just
be,
a reflex. It just happens.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
why you see these junior coaches shouting at kids, stick on the ice, head up. They're not being assholes. They're trying to like drill that into the brain so deep that he doesn't have to yell that anymore because you know what, you sticks on the ice, heads up, you're looking. And from fucking youth hockey all the way through, and it's still as important when you get to your guys' level.
Yeah,
And excuse me. We are, I believe, 8, 9 games in. I think you boys more obviously cup heavy than league heavy
yeah,
so far. Where would you kind of assess where you are, and what's the goal for October? Because I think a lot of teams, obviously, a lot of the teams, the goal is win the league, get as high as you can, blah blah blah. But most good coaches, most good clubs, and the boys themselves, we break it down into a lot smaller groups than that, and we break it down into like we've got 8, 9, 12 games in October. What's a good October look like for the Guildford Flames?
yeah. That's something we talk about all the time too. And it's like, now that we were cup heavy and we've only had one game in the league, when you go down to it, like obviously it sounds cliche to say, but you can really only look to the next game because you can say, oh, we got 11 games or 10 games in October and we gotta win 16 or 17 of the 20 available points. But it's like at the end of the day, none of it matters if you don't get something out of the next Saturday, right? Then you're
Yeah,
behind the 8 ball. So you kind of got to look to that next game. But for us, with the league, with more league games coming up here, we have a goal in mind of how we play each opponent and how we think that we should fare during the regular season. And the thing for us is we want to make like every game at home for us, we need to be a place that's like it's a must win because
Yeah,
it's a place like, I like the Spectrum. I think it's a good spot, but maybe other teams don't like coming in there. Dressing room might be a little small for them. The bench is a little small. Um, maybe, and for a lot of teams, it's like some of the teams, it's their farthest game,
true.
So those games, like anything at home, we're like looking like, hey, we gotta win at home. We gotta win at home. And that's something we want to do for our fans too, because we do have good support there and everything. So we want to do that. And then you look at your road games and sure, in an ideal world, you're gonna go into Sheffield and Nottingham and Cardiff and win all your games, but it's not gonna happen, right? So, you look at those road games and you're thinking, okay, like can we go into those buildings and take 3 out of the 6 points in the season? And then you just look at that next game and you say, can we go in there tonight and take 1 or 2 points and build towards that goal of taking half the points from, one of those arena teams in their own building? And you got to look at that as maybe a success because you're not going to win every game in the arenas, right? Like
Not
they're
gonna happen.
the teams are good at home, especially Sheffield and Cardiff and the ice.
Nottingham look back to themselves this year. They look good again.
Yeah. So the ice is a little bit tilted against you, even just going in there. But you think to yourself, like we had a discussion about it a couple years ago, and it's like we were 2 points off winning the league two
So
seasons,
close.
and we didn't lose that league in March. We lost it in one of those
September the 1st or something like
stupid games in whatever, call it matchup.
Wednesday night in Dundee or whatever
Yeah,
it is. Like,
yeah, like that's when those are the points that you gotta like get up for and grab because like 2 points is the same in October as it is in the first week of April, the last week of March. Like they all count the same. So um, it's tough to explain that to some guys, and that's why sometimes you see teams with a little continuity like Sheffield had in their team last year. Like those guys understood right from the start that how important the points were right from the start of the year. Whereas a lot of times, you explain it to the guys coming in like, hey, like the league, we got to win the league. We want them in the league. But just with that North American mentality or even fancy,
playoffs, man. Yeah, like, no,
it's like,
really.
we got to be going so that, come playoffs, we're flying. No, we got to be flying now because 2 points is 2 points.
Yeah. And it's something that I've spoke to pretty much every North American that's been on the show over the last 5 years. And especially like the first year guys, I'm like, you motherfuckers can't lose to Dundee away on a Wednesday because if you do, when it comes to that 91, 89, 87 points, you're gonna come back and go, fuck.
Yeah.
We beat Sheffield away twice. We beat Belfast away twice, but we lost to the Clan, we lost to Fife, we lost to Dundee, we lost to the teams that they are beating away. And you
Yeah.
lost 2 games there. You lost in a shootout, so you got a point, and then you got 4 zipped or whatever
Yeah.
it is, and you go, we left 3 points on the table against the team that finished ninth, that finished 10th.
Mhm.
And that's what I like about the Elite League, though, because the team that finished ninth and 10th can ruin your fucking season. Like they can ruin your season in a short weekend.
Yeah.
Manchester did it to Belfast before. They went in away and they beat Belfast twice in Belfast. They're like back home double header. Manchester in like eighth spot at this time. Like
Yeah.
the league can be well and truly lost in a weekend in the Elite League, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it is. It makes it certainly very entertaining and intense as a player because but again, you're trying to as someone who's been around for a while now, you're trying to like convey that urgency without obviously without making every game seem like it's the end of the world because at the end of the day, you can't play 65 games with like you're wound up so tight you're gonna spring like a
Yeah,
coil.
yeah.
So it's kind of finding that balance of like, hey, the only game that matters is this next 2 points. Like we just got to try and grab those points and then we'll focus on what's next after that.
So we're looking at your schedule here, Fergie. You just have the one game this weekend. Is
This
that
weekend,
right?
this weekend coming up, we have
Well,
Coventry.
one league game, sorry. What's
Yeah,
my bad? That's my bad. You have the one league game, but you also have that one cup game against Cov.
yeah, yeah,
There's no level of importance, is there? You don't go, well, we got the cup and then we got the league. You know, like UK fans are probably used to watching their ice hockey team, but their football team as well. And they go, right, we got the FA Cup, so we're going to give the young guys a run out on the Saturday, and then we got Man City away Sunday, so we're going to go tits. In hockey, we don't seem to separate. There is no separate. We want to win the Challenge Cup. We want to win the league. We want to win fucking any trophy that you put in front of us. The Who Cares Cup, the fucking Wednesday afternoon cross ice practice. Like,
yeah.
if you give the boys a puck and a battle, they want to win. So how do you go into it knowing that realistically it's win out or bust for you guys in the cup? But also, you've played one league game, you've won. You want to win. You want to kind of go again. Cardiff are going to be, if you want to win the league, Cardiff are going to be one of the teams you have to get your
Yeah.
points against. There's no real level of importance, but how do you differentiate the two, or is it just same next 24 hours, next 24 hours?
I mean, yeah, normally I would say, if you look back on previous years, like because the cup is now different and it's more intense, there's only five teams getting to the next round, rather than eight. Like by this point, you're usually pretty sure you were going to the next round, unless you were, had a horrible start. But from where we are with kind of the slower start we had, like the message now is just to like keep building and getting better every game. And whether or not we win out, we could still not get to the next round of the Challenge Cup. We got to find ways to win in Coventry, and like what better way to start because we got to go there and in there for three league games too, right? So we go in there for a Challenge Cup game. We got to find a way to take points out of there. It's a tough building. They usually play well at home, and we played them last Saturday, and I think they're a good team. And they're gonna turn teams over at home, and we need to find ways to win there for the future games. So whether or not the cup is still within reach for us or not, the message is just like we got to keep like freaking trying to get better here because or else we're going to find ourselves in a tough spot come the league as well if we don't take that next step and keep building and growing as a team. So
Well, obviously, I'm coming to watch this weekend against Cardiff again. It just so happens to be they had your number last time, 6-2. I think they ran out in the end. What I did like to see, and in my opinion, it took fucking period and a half too long. But the boys had a bit of spunk and they had a bit of fight and there was a bit of fuck you at the end and there was a bit of battle and you know what? The game might be well and truly done by then, but it shows that hey, when they come in here this Saturday, Sunday, you're not just fucking coming in here going to run us out 6-2 again. Like we're coming to battle and we got guys that you're not expecting dropping the gloves and you got guys fucking getting in the mix
yeah,
from it from a
for
team
sure.
and the captain. You got to be happy about that. Like me, if I was a fan, knowing what I know, I wish you boys did it like 30 minutes earlier. You could have been doing with that. But it was good to see that there was still that level of commitment. The game's pretty much done. Everybody, realistically, we're all skating to the 60th minute. But you
Yeah.
know when you got to score 5 goals in fucking 3 minutes. Probably not going to happen when you've scored two in the first like 55. It could happen,
Yeah.
but it was nice to see that the fight wasn't gone. That the boys were there and they come into battle for each other. So, Captain, you happy there?
Yeah, for sure. You always want to see the guys like battle right to the final whistle, whether the score's like you said 6-2 or whether you're up 6-2. You kind of want to see the guys battle it out and stick together right to the end. We always seem to have those games with Cardiff and they're fun, like where it gets a little heated and whatever. Maybe there's a couple people dropping the gloves or whether it's just the after the whistle stuff. It's always seems to happen with them. So it's good to see that we're battling for each other, battling right to the end, but obviously, maybe some frustration on our part just at that point. Like you don't want to get beat at home, and you especially don't want to get beat at home 6-2.
That's
So
not fun.
yeah,
That's not fun like the others.
yeah. So for sure, some frustration there, and obviously, um, kind of goes back to what we were saying about the discipline part. Like, I guess at that point, it's good to see the boys fighting and
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
If we're being honest with ourselves, we're not happy when we're in that position. So it's too little, too late at that point. But
I
it's
agree.
still good to see the fight in the boys. You always like to see
I
the
know the
boys.
fans around me appreciate the fuck out of it. Like they loved it. And that's something like, do you know what? Like, if you have the square off and you go, and you have a nice tilt center ice, all the fans are going crazy. You do kind of see it, and playing you skates in the box after you can't help but have a little look up and go, they're going fucking nuts for me. Like, we've got a
Yeah,
little bit of ego in the fucking hockey game. We do, even though we're a team first kind of bunch of guys.
yeah,
When you have a good center ice tilt and the fans are going nuts, you can't help but look up. But in that scenario where it's just like a one in, all in, you don't really see what the fans are going crazy by me. You're
yeah,
6-2 down and they're losing their minds. They're like they're probably already fucking videoing it. They're texting their wife, like texting their boyfriend. This is the fucking shit. Like everyone's buzzing, everyone's loving it. It
yeah,
just goes to show like keep fighting all the way to the end. The fans will keep coming back. They'll keep coming through the door, whether you win or lose. And Guildford are pretty good at that. Like their numbers are pretty consistent when it comes to fan base. No, it's not the biggest facility on the planet, but for the seats they have, they tend to fill them.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm glad we gave him something to cheer about that night then. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah, I like I said, I think we have a great fan base, and I think they're generally pretty understanding too. Like I've seen some other teams that we've beat on the road that get booed out of their own buildings, and I can happily say that like I don't think our fans would ever do that to
Could you
us.
imagine that? You see
Um,
it in football here all the time, mate. Nightmare fuel. Like, you lose 2-1 at home, you get booed off the park. It's like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I think we have great fans, and there's good support in there. Obviously, one day I know Guilford will have a better facility, and
Yeah,
it'll
they
be
will.
it'll be a premier place for recruitment in the league, and I think we're getting there too. Now we've been in the league now 8 seasons, right? 7 seasons in the elite league, and we've done okay, but not good enough. We'd like to bring our fans some silverware, something to.
Is that the objective Diggers stuck on you boys this year?
Well, I mean, like it should be the objective every year. Like,
Yeah.
you're in a 10-team league, and obviously there's your favorites every year to win. But at the end of the day, like, we've in the past pretty much every year except my first year here, we've been like within a game or two of winning a trophy. Like,
Cup finals and then playoff finals and like yeah,
so we've been right there, and like this year, the objective, the goal is just to get over that hump, like whether it's you want to tell yourself at the beginning of the year that you're going for all three trophies, or whether you want to be honest with yourself and say, let's get one of these freaking things, like let's
yeah,
just get something here, and then that's the building block, and then from there you take that next step. Obviously every year I'd love to have three trophies,
yeah.
being realistic, I, I'd love to have one trophy.
A trophy, just a trophy would be
Yeah.
nice.
So that's the goal. The goal is to get a trophy this year, and I think that they're all equally hard to get. Maybe the playoff one you could get a little hot, and it's not as
Yeah,
many games.
two games you're there, and two
Yeah,
more games and you're walking away with a trophy.
yeah. So that's a goal, and I think I think for me personally, it would be great to bring that to the in front of the fans because
Plus, you get to lift that bad boy.
yeah, like being here so long, I see these people like I know them, like
Yeah, yeah, right, for sure.
I've seen. I can't
It's
even
like that
go.
kid was a fucking baby when I first came here. He's got like a mustache now. Like, what's going
Yeah, like I get on we have to do that autograph table,
on?
we have to do it once every 10 home games or whatever. and it's like people put something in front of me. I'm like, well, I signed that about 6 years ago. That
Yeah, right.
years ago, my signature's right there. It's like,
Yeah.
I know all these people. I've seen them. I've had interactions with them, and it would just be, and they've supported us and they've supported me throughout the years, and it would just be great to bring a trophy for them, something that I think would bring them a lot of joy. Like, sometimes I think they they would be happier than I would. But
Oh, mate, they would. It'd make their fucking lives. Honestly, some of these people are such diehards. I've got a couple of questions before I let you go. One on one of your actual rivals, the Sheffield Steelers. Obviously, it's massively successful season last year. They win the Grand Slam. That sets them up for the Champions League. They get the draw in the Champions League, and they got Vaxo, and they got the Lakers, and you just look at their schedule, and you're like, fuck me, that is seven real disgustingly hard games of hockey. How do they go about picking up some victories? And then they win three games on the trot in the Champions League. How is that for you as a player that plays in the league? Is it nice to see maybe some respect getting put on the Elite League's name a little bit? And as an opposing player, are you still kind of rooting for them a little bit in the Champions League on the perspective of what I just said in question two, like raising that profile of the league and getting some respect on that name?
yeah, I mean, for sure. And like, we were talking about it before we started recording here, but like they're a good team. They got a
Yeah,
lot of
they're good.
like they had a great season last year, and then they retained a lot of the, top guys, their players, and then they added a couple pieces. Like they got a lot of good players in that dressing room. And it's nice to see them do well in the Champions League, because I do think that sometimes our league's getting slept on a little bit.
I agree.
From other, or whether it's critics out there or whatever. Uh, but they to go up against those SHL teams, the Swiss teams, Czech teams, like good for them.
Madness.
Good for them. They've obviously they're playing well, they're coached well, they're doing the right things. I hope they go as far as they can so that they're tired for when they play us.
So that so that time comes the stretch.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? The fucking Fox Out Brigade have been very fucking quiet recently, haven't they? When they weren't doing shit and they were just second and third. And we talk about it right here tonight. We've talked about it. We've talked about it with anybody that's been on, including the Sheffield boys, including anybody. It is hard to win the Elite League. I cannot explain how fucking hard it is to win the Elite League. You have to be on Dundee. You have to be on Five Way every night. Any team that wins the Elite League is a good ice hockey team. Like they are really, really good. If you finish second or third, there's no shame in that. And they were like, Fox out, fucks. Who's this guy? It's a guy that just came out of K. He's pretty damn good. And now they're getting wins in the Champions League and the Fox Out Brigade. They're very, very quiet. They're like, oh, let's build a statue. Let's
Yeah.
build a statue outside Sheffield Arena. Like, and they're loving it. But
I
the
mean,
question,
yeah,
sorry,
that's sports, isn't it? It's like, you're the hero until you're not. And it's like, but that's the world we sign up for. That's what we play for. It's a meritocracy. It's a what have you done for
yeah,
me lately type
yeah.
of business. So you can see it, but yeah, there's definitely it probably feels nice for him. I actually
Oh,
ran into
I bet he feels fucking great right now. So,
Yeah, I actually ran into him when I was on vacation in Greece this summer.
really
Yeah,
nice.
he was staying at the same resort as me, but I probably feels great for him to just give those people
Just to fuck you at the pool and all inclusive
yeah.
on a Monday morning, be like three rings, baby.
That's got to be good in any sport when whether it's football, hockey, baseball, whatever, when there's like a outspoken critic, even in like the newspapers or something, and then all of a
Oh,
sudden
must
you
feel
shut
so
it
good.
up.
So good. Just shove it up right up their hoop, but to
Yeah.
shove it up the hoop with a treble and then win three games in the Champions League. What like when everyone's written you off, like, oh, then Sheffield are gonna do nothing. They're gonna finish 24th and they're gonna do this and they're gonna and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, they won. Oh, they won again. Oh, they
Yeah.
won again. Okay. Maybe, maybe just maybe. And hey, For the league as a whole, for me, I was as an outsider, kind of doing a media podcasty kind of thing now. It's fantastic. I love to see you boys get some respect put on your name. I
Yeah.
go to games. I see you boys play hockey. Like, there's some good fucking hockey players in that league. Let's not make a mistake. There's a like, I don't. You wouldn't have known because you were up the other end, fucking warming up and doing your thing. I put a video of that Josh McDonald kid on my Instagram. I was watching him on warm up. I've been around this game for 30 years. I was watching this guy stick handle a fucking puck in warm up, dude. Right? He's doing the toe drag, backhand toe drag, and then he's like, just keeping it up, keeping it up. We can all keep it up, right? But some guys can keep it up and just he looks smooth, right? And then
Yeah.
he's got the puck and he's fucking throwing it to the ceiling. And he's catching it, and he's throwing it to the ceiling, and he's catching it on the backhand. Guy doesn't miss. Like his hand-eye coordination is outstanding.
Yeah.
For me, he was the best player on the ice in that game. Like someone commented on our post, made me laugh. Oh, all that trickery won't get you fucking anywhere. It's just showmanship. I was like,
Yeah.
he was the best player on the ice in that game. He had four apples. They won
Yeah.
6-2. They won 6-2. He was disgusting. Like the three out of the four goals that he appled on, the guy just had his stick on the ice at the back post. They didn't do anything. They were no part of that goal. They were no part of the build up. They did fucking nothing. They just went to the net with their stick on the ice. He did everything. Like, is
Yeah.
there anybody in the league that you've played so far this year that you've looked at and gone, this guy's a player?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's one of them. Like,
Yeah, he's
there's,
good.
but every like I said, like every team has like good players. Like
Yeah,
they're
really good.
and a lot of teams have these guys that like, you play them and you don't notice them for a while, and then all of a sudden they just do something sick and it's in the back of your net. And I think we have a few of those guys on our team too, where it's like they can just make something out of nothing because of their like talent level and their abilities. Like every like I can't think of a team like they all there's guys on every team that are like nasty, you know?
I like that Kawaguchi from Belfast, native kid. Shit, he's fucking thick. He doesn't have a neck. I saw him in Dundee and Fife. He's just like your typical left winger. Give him the puck, but he's got hands too. He's got legit hands. But he just skates to the net, and you go. Do you know what your coach says from when you're 10? Go to the net, good things happen.
Yeah.
This guy's the epitome of goes to the net and good things happen. Have you
Yeah.
played Dundee yet this year?
No, we've
I'm going to give you the heads up on number 49, Poulet, French Canadian kid, finishes every fucking hit. Like he did not finish a hit. Every shift, every hit, bang, through guys, through guys, through guys. I was like, give me a guy like that on my roster every day of the week.
that's one of those discipline things we're talking about. It's so hard to do. People don't maybe notice you notice it because you've been around the game so long, but like people don't notice how valuable that is to a team.
And also, you don't realize 56 games a season times 10's hits a night is
Yeah.
560 high impact collisions with other mutants that are roughly like the same sort of weight as you, or maybe bigger. Because he's
Yeah.
not a big kid either.
Yeah.
But like, just the way you play, I would just say heads up when that fucking guy's on the ice and that's what I like to see in the elite league. He's got hits. He's got like he'll finish a hit. You pass that puck off and go, oh, that was fucking nice. And you look over
Yeah.
there, he's coming through you. Like
Yeah.
he's and the elite league's missing that a little bit, and I'm glad it's back. And that is that discipline thing that you talk about. I've got one final question for you, Fergie. It's a bit of a tough one
Yeah.
because we talk about the respect in the elite league. Sometimes I've been across Europe a lot the last 15 months here. I've seen lots of different levels of hockey and in lots of different countries, and I think the elite league's kind of slept on. We talked about it there before, and Sheffield getting the respect and kind of hopefully spreading that out across the league.
Mhm.
Give me your spiel to sign a guy from North America that's never been here before. You try to get him to come to the fucking elite league and play for the Guildford Flames. What are you telling him apart from the good golf?
I mean, and I am part of a lot of those conversations every time we're trying to sign a guy and they want someone to talk to him and they send him they send him my number or whatever. And I just say like, hey, like, I played around Europe before, I've been in a couple other leagues and stuff, and it's like you're never gonna have more fun like away from the rink and everything that you are here. Like the hockey's good, the culture's great, but you don't have a language barrier. You don't have you don't go into a grocery store and not know what the hell something is. Like
Yeah, what's that?
it's kind of like just the perfect little mix because you get a for us, you guys might not feel the same growing up here, but like you get a European experience without having to deal with all the other crap, Like you go to some of these countries. I was in France one year and like to get a bank account and a phone plan was like I was just struggling because I couldn't speak to anyone, type of thing. You go to a place like Slovakia, you don't know if you're going to get frickin' paid or if you get hurt, you don't know if they're just taking you to an alley somewhere to
He's
a
just gonna shoot you out back.
like you don't know like the UK is a good place and there's good people here. Like you can go out down the street to your local pub and meet nice people, like good people that you want to talk to. Like, I have friends here that I don't play that have nothing, they don't even know what hockey is.
Yeah.
And
Never been to a game, couldn't give a
yeah,
shit, like couldn't care
yeah,
less. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't think you're finding that anywhere else. Like and for guys that want to stay in North America, like I get it because there's always that dream,
The dream, baby.
if you're in the East Coast and like the East Coast is a great league. They all play in nice buildings, like it's a high level of hockey and there's still that little bit of maybe you can get called up to the AHL or whatever. But you come over, travels a little bit easier than it is in that league. You're playing with a lot of import guys. You're playing, for a team with a fan base that, for the most part, genuinely cares about you and wants you to enjoy.
Live and breathe, you guys.
Yeah. And one thing that's huge for guys from North America is like you get a visa, like your wife or partner,
Yeah.
like she can work here. Like, and that part of it is so big for like the girls to have because it's a big thing to give up, man. Like some of these,
Just stop working after like if you're 30 and you've worked since you were fucking 15,
yeah,
but you want to go with your fella. Oh yeah, you can't work. Like what?
yeah,
Fuck
it's
am I what am I supposed to do for 40 hours a week? Like
exactly. Well, and and that can weigh on the guys too because you get home from practice and your workout and whatever, and you're tired, and then all of a sudden, she's been sitting at home because there's nothing for her to do, and then
let's go shopping.
the last thing you want to do is go walk around and whatever. Like,
Get dragged around Gunwharf Keys in and out of fucking like Levi and Tommy Hilfiger. You're like, need to need to sleep. Like
yeah. And then I guess, for our sales pitch in Guilford, like it is a nice place. Like the city's nice, the town center is beautiful.
stunning.
Uh, you have London right on your doorstep, and London has everything all the time, like you can do whatever you want.
7 day a week city.
Yeah. So, and then, you go the other way an hour and you're on the coast and there's nice beaches and whatever and so it's a good place. In all my years here, I've never had someone that like was excited to leave at the end of the year. They like everyone's genuinely enjoyed them, whether they had a good season hockey wise or not. They've all really just like loved playing here and being here. Um, so from our standpoint, we try and not talk. We talk about that stuff and not the spectrum.
Not the holes in the ceiling or the fucking 10-meter diving board or the fact
Yeah,
that you have to have 3 hour queue for Costa because there's 17 parents that have come out of fucking swimming lessons. Nah, that's fine. The one thing that I will encourage you, if anyone from Guildford Spectrum, please let us take a pint in the rink.
yeah, yeah. That's
Please,
strange.
please.
It must
It's
be something to do with their license or
It's
something.
gotta be, but like you're stood in the bar, you're like, and then you know it's like when you go to hockey, especially as an ex-player, like, and now me as a podcaster, people do come and talk to me, and I'm the same now as I was when I'm a player. I'll fucking stop and talk to everybody. I'll never fuck you anybody. I'll always
Yeah,
give them the time of day, especially if they go, oh yeah, I saw Fergie was on, and yeah, it was good to chat, and yeah, how are you, and how's the family? Oh, I saw Brody was on the ice, and I
yeah,
never want to leave that, but also I don't want to miss the game, right? Like, I
yeah,
don't want to miss the game. Let me take my pint to my seat. It's a plastic glass. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Just like let me have a beer and watch the game. And I think Guildford's never been notoriously great for atmosphere. Sorry, Guildford fans. I know you're watching right now. It called a library for a reason. You get a couple of little pints in these folks down in their seats, and all of a sudden, that might change it. These Surrey folks might get off the old horse, and figuratively speaking and metaphorically speaking, they'll get off the horse, loosen them up a little bit. Like I was up in Fife the other week. It's fucking mental, mate. Like the fuck you and the ref,
Yeah.
the chirps that the Fife fans were giving the Belfast players were better than any chirps of any guy that I played with for like 15 years straight playing pro. Like these
Yeah.
guys are having it. The boys are loving it. Like I text straight at Kieran Long, text him after the game, and he was like, "What were the fans behind you shouting?" I was like, "You boys hear that?" I was like, "They were just giving it to you boys like all night," and like
Yeah.
non-PG shit. Like, but it was. I felt like I was in Europe. Like I felt like I was in a game in Slovakia. There was a buzz, and I loved it. Like honestly, as a player slash now fan, it's great. And you can't tell me when you score a goal away against a team like that, and they've been fuck you all night, and you skate past them, and
Yeah.
there's
Tough.
no better feeling. And that they're never the fans, by the way, that are gonna give you the shit on the internet. They're the fans that will buy you a pint in the bar after the game because you know what? You gave it back and you were like, yeah. And they
Yeah.
can respect the shit out of it. I'm all for that. Like it's such a good thing. And I think Guildford missed a beat. Like the amount of people that stood in the bar at the end of the second period and be like, and you can't see because they bring the shutters down and you go, shit, I
Yeah.
just missed 4 minutes of the period. Please, Guildford, this is my plea to you on behalf of all of UK hockey fans everywhere. Let's have a little beer in the rink. Like Slovakia, Germany, Czech, anywhere I've been in the last Switzerland, anywhere I've been in the last couple of seasons here, you can have a pop in your seat, you can have a hot dog, you can have a slice of pizza, whatever it is, wherever the rink you are. And I think it adds to it. And I think from a business perspective, I guess Hepburn maybe doesn't get a cut of the cake there. He's like, fuck those guys, I don't care. And quite right so, but if not, get your own beers, get whatever it is. So I did a review last week. Aberdeen Lynx, they play in the Scottish National League. They now have their own beer.
Oh, nice.
And it was nice. They sent me a can and I was drinking it. Like it tastes really great. It's a beautiful taste. It's not strong, it's only 4.2%. So
Okay.
no one's gonna be scrapping at the game. It's not that kind of beer. Like everyone, if it's a friendly beer, tastes beautiful, and I imagine there's gonna be a kickback to the team. And
Yeah.
if there's gonna be a kickback to the team, I know how Aberdeen do things. That means then there's a kickback to the junior system. That's how they do it there.
Yeah.
It's a
Perfect.
no-brainer. Like,
A little
start
more.
thinking outside the box in the UK because me and Fergie talked about off air. Like, this time, last time, anytime we've spoke, the national team is the goal, and the only way to do that is to get funding, and the only way to get funding is to start thinking outside the box. And if it's producing our own beer, English people, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, that's what a league is made up of. They all like pints, all of them. Every single fucking one of them like pints. Get your own beers on the go, get your own draft, get your own ale, get your own gin. Who cares? Like, there's money to be made, and that could be pumped back into the system.
Yeah. It'd be good to see that
Uh,
more.
Fergie, I can't wait to come watch you boys play this week. I appreciate your time as ever. I would love to see you boys and Cardiff there. Have a bit of a barn burner on Sunday. What what's the next month hold for you? I imagine anything less than 5, 6 wins, you boys gonna be disappointed, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we need to get hot here a little bit. We've spoke about it this whole show. Points in October matter just as much as points at any other point in time in the year. So we look at our schedule. We got some tough games coming up, but we got to find ways to win, find ways to take points off of top teams like Cardiff, like Sheffield. That's what it is. But we're just trying to turn around from the slow start, and hopefully last weekend was a good stepping stone with a 4 point weekend for us, and then get back
Cou
at it on Saturday. And
Couple of bodies back, mate. It makes all the difference.
huge, yeah, Yeah, you never want to use the injuries as an excuse or
But
anything, but
but it
it's
is but it is like
yeah,
I I know it's hard because like you say, you don't want to do that. Oh, we got guys hurt and
yeah,
but if that's your first line center and your second line winger and your third D man that blocks 15 shots a night and logs fucking 27 minutes,
yeah,
that's huge. Like that is you go into your sales team at BMW and you try and sell fucking 15 cars in a day, but your first, second, and third guy out the roster and not in the showroom that day. You're not going to sell fucking 15 cars that day. You're not going to do it. No matter what your job is, if you start taking key pieces out of the equation, shit's not going to work. And ice hockey's no different.
yeah, for sure. But like I said, you got to find ways to win some nights.
Ugly wins, baby.
Guys, every team has to deal with it. So I'm sure, across the board, every team has guys that are hurt and they're looking forward to getting back and whatever. So, but it's
Fergie, sorry, buddy. Sorry, no,
oh,
didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah, I was gonna say it's also one of those things where, like guys gotta work hard to get back and, be fighting to get back in the lineup. It's you've been
Do the rehab, do the boring shit that you don't want to do.
yeah,
Sit on a bike for 30 minutes a day, and yeah,
yeah, exactly.
it's crucial though, like because like you say, 2 points now is right there at the end of the year is massive, and that comes down to your rehab. It comes down to your discipline, going to your physio, doing the ice baths. Where you feel a little bit cold after practice. Tough shit getting the ice bath. Like you got a physio appointment at fucking 8, 10 p.m. a.m. or p.m. or it's the start of your day, it's the end of your day, it's the wrong time or whatever. It's tough shit. Like if you get guys that are doing that and doing all that for the team, it doesn't go unnoticed. Doesn't go unnoticed with the boys. And when it comes to pulling on the rope, you feel like everyone's pulling on the rope together. I wish you the very best of luck for the weekend and the remainder of the season here. And best of luck to the Guildford Flames. Hope all you Flames fans that have been watching along will hit subscribe. And some of you other fans, I know you might love to hate Fergie, but you'd have him on your fucking team in a heartbeat. Let me tell you that. Fergie, best of luck, my friend, and keep doing your good thing, buddy.
All right, fella. Cheers. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy. Right, ladies and gents, do the good thing. Hit subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, we are we're going to be bringing more content right now. I'm back into the groove. I'm back into the swing of things, and we'll see you for another episode very, very soon. Peace out.